Hey everyone, my name is Jeremy, and I'm here to give you an update on my progress with the University of Arizona Global Campus, formerly known as Ashford University, Master of Human Resource Management program. I am in my second to last class, so that means me currently being in week 2 of this class. I have 10 weeks left within these last 2 classes, and I'm completely done. It feels really good to be able to say that. The last time I did a video was back in June. So I've been in a couple of classes. I've just been super busy and juggling multiple things, and I haven't been posting. So this might be a little bit longer than normal. I'm going to give a high-level overview of the previous classes that I was in, and then my current class, which I'll start with that. My current class is in compensation and benefits. As I said, I'm in week 2. It's really helping me understand the work that goes into creating a compensation package that attracts, retains, and motivates employees to do their responsibilities, and all of the effort that goes into ensuring that the monetary and non-monetary compensation is done in a way that, again, keeps people. It's very interesting. I've never taken a course on compensation before, and I've never really been a part of the in-depth conversation that goes behind the scenes. But having been exposed to it through an academic lens helps me to understand that, yeah, it really is important for you to have something to be able to pay people in a way that motivates them and makes them want to do their job. And actually, let me back up. I didn't do my math like I normally do. So the program is 39 credit hours. I am in the second to last class, so that means that I have 33. One class I was able to transfer in from another university, so I was able to cut my program short by 6 weeks. So initially, I was going to graduate in March. I think it is the end of March, or be done with the program in the end of March. But now I'm going to be done in the end of February. In this class, actually, I take that back. This class is 6 weeks long. I have a 3-week break, which includes 2 weeks of December break and 1 week because I shifted my schedule. And then sometime in January, I'll pick up that last course. Okay. So the last time that we talked, I think I was going into managing a global and diverse workforce. And then since then, I've had leading organizational change and then also training and development. So one of the things that I noticed was in this later half of the program, maybe it was the professors, but the professors were a little bit more engaged in terms of, how can I say, there were more attention to detail oriented. So one thing that I will say in general is look at the rubric, because if you take the rubric in your assignments in general, but more specifically your weekend assignments, if you take that rubric and you outline your paper that way, you'll be fine. Of course, you have to, do your research, make sure you cite and all that kind of stuff, but you really need to pay attention to what the rubric says. The rubric is your way to success. And then, of course, use all the other benefits like Turnitin and Grammarly, which are lifesavers. So what did I take away from managing a global and diverse workforce? So the importance of recognizing that the world is changing and companies are going global, and without embracing that, a company who operates in its parent location or in one location in its originating country or host country, it's not going to work. Like, you will be surpassed by your competition because you'll start to lose a competitive edge. So really breaking down what it means to take a workforce global, consider all the cultural and or the laws or practices that are in place in other countries, and how you have to find a way to still operate as you do in your main country or your host country, and then still be successful in that other country. You have to literally think of the totality of the human or the employee experience, which is how you attract people, how you pay people, how you motivate people, how you manage their performance, how you address certain things. It's a lot more in depth than you think. So I appreciated being able to go through that class. The next class was leading organizational change. That class was interesting. I had taken a class similar to it within another program, so I was kind of already attuned to what was going on. Really just understanding that it's a psychological process that you have to go through when you're going through change. And then there's so much pre-work that you have to go through in order to implement change in a strategic way, in a way that you can sustain and motivates people to adapt and embrace that change. There's so many different roles that people have to play within change itself. And then also looking at the end goal of your change and creating a well laid out plan to ensure that that change goes through. So that was fairly interesting. One thing that I will say is that I had an experience with my first grade appeal. So on my sixth assignment, I was doing my draft on my laptop, and then I switched over to my desktop and uploaded my draft as my final assignment, even though I had already, or I completed the final assignment. So in other words, I switched computers, worked on my final draft, completed my final draft, but accidentally submitted my, my draft. The professor was a stickler for whatever you turn in is what you turn in, but I legitimately made a mistake. And having maintained all A's thus far, and actually having learned a lot in the program, I felt that it was not fair for me to be penalized for honestly making a mistake. I turned in my discussion, did my discussions, responded to people, was engaging, did my assignment. So it was more principle for me that I did the work, but I made a mistake and was being penalized by having my draft graded and not being able to turn in my actual final assignment. Went through the grade appeal after speaking with the professor and seeing if they would make an accommodation, which they wouldn't. So went through a grade appeal and submitted it, and maybe a month later I was able to get my final assignment graded with the actual finished draft, and then also got my grade changed because I did drop drastically from an A to a B. But as a result of going through the academic appeal process and me being able to prove that I had good intention, I did the right thing, I tried to work with the professor or get the professor to make an accommodation, I was successful. Not saying that that would be the case for everyone, but just knowing that that is an option if you genuinely did everything that you're supposed to do. So training and development, that was interesting. I have a lot of experience being in training settings, especially sitting in the classroom and observing trainers. But it was interesting to see how people take gaps that are identified performance-wise and be able to turn that into an entire training program. I think not enough credit is not given to human resources and within that learning and development or training and development, which is what the class was, because there really has to be a detailed and thorough plan on how to address people where they are and how they process information to ensure that the intent and the objectives are met. So that way people can apply it when they go back to their jobs and then continuously apply it afterwards. So that was interesting. Overall, these past few classes have been very interesting, more challenging than the first couple of classes, in my opinion. I would say that overall, my experience, it's challenging, but it's not rigorous. I can say that I dedicate about 10 to 15 hours doing the assignments and the discussion boards and the assignments, and then of course a little bit more for reading. But I don't feel like I exert a lot of effort into this program. And I don't mean that to say that the program is easy. peasy. I just say that because maybe it's my second graduate degree, and maybe I'm motivated to learn about HR because that's my passion and I have some experience. Maybe that's, excuse me, maybe that's why. But everything's good. So I look forward to updating you on this last assignment or this last class. And again, it's my second to last class. So maybe in a couple weeks, I will be posting a video about going on Christmas break and then finally taking my last class, which I believe is human resource strategies. And then I'll be done. Have a great one.